evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Just want to make a couple of housekeeping announcements. There's quite a few chairs which are empty in the front. So there's people who are standing in the back. I request them if they can take their seats, please. And also, if for those of you who have not registered, I would kindly request you, the registration desk is just outside on my left. If you could just give your name to the registration desk. Thank you. So, we are just waiting for a green light because we are live streaming this event on YouTube and LinkedIn. So, we're just waiting for a green light from our console that we are live. So, before we call and start the actual lighting of the lamp. So maybe what I can do then is, before we do the lighting of the lamp, I can request Prashant from the club to do the safety briefing. Safety briefing actually comes first. So Prashant, can I request you, then we will do the lighting of the lamp afterwards. Thanks.
Namaskar, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Prashant, and I am the security manager over here and also responsible for the safety and security at the club. So I will give you the safety brief. In the event of a fire in any area of the club, the following procedure should be followed. First, you have to stay calm and do not panic. Club takes all the necessary precautions for firefighting and equipped with the automated firefighting gears, that is smoke detectors and sprinklers, as well as we have the portable fire extinguishers which are easily visible at each floor. Then respect the signages wherever it is displayed. Smoking is allowed in a pre-designated area which is at courtyard outside the colonial hall. If any unsafe situations occurs, then you are requested to call immediately on club emergency number, that is 9, from any landline number, or else you can call on the 9819420134 from your cell phone. If the area become unsafe, exit from the nearest fire exit. We have 3 fire exits, 2 on your left hand side and 1 on your right hand side. Watch your steps to avoid slip, trip or fall hazard. In a smoke-filled corridor, it is wise to crawl to the nearest fire exit. A wet towel covering your nose and mouth is an effective aid in preventing smoke inhalation during your escape. Please do not use elevators. Our club assembly point is at ground floor next to the swimming pool and at a main lawn. It's just 40 meters away from this point. Our trained firefighting team members are always available 24/7 for your emergency assistance. Thank you and wish you a safe and wonderful event. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Prashant. I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Manav Kanwar. I am the treasurer of IADC South Central Asia chapter. So, welcome everyone. We are thankful to all the delegates and the dignitaries who have joined us today. Some of you have flown from outside Mumbai, and of course everyone has faced the traffic to come here. So, which was, I believe, it was taking double the amount of time that it normally does, but thank you very much. So therefore we are starting a little late, for which we apologize. Vikram, should we go ahead now? Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll start with the lighting of the lamp. I would like to request our esteemed dignitaries, Mr. Pankaj Kumar, our guest of honor and director offshore of ONGC. Sir, if you can just kindly come on the stage along with Mr. O.P. Singh, chairman IADC and director technology and field services ONGC. So please, if you could come on the stage, and I would request also Mr. N.C. Pandey, who was director TNFS and leader in the industry. So if you could kindly come on the stage, and I would now request the 3 pillars of the 3 assets in Mumbai offshore, the 3 asset managers. If one of them is not here, Mr. Mathavan, but Mr. Sanjay Mazumdar, asset manager of Neelam and Hira, and Mr. Ravi Shankar, asset manager of Basin and Satellite. So if you could kindly come on stage. And also I request Mr. V.V. Prasad, Chief Drilling Services, and Mr. Michael Poshia, Chief Drilling Services, if you could kindly come on stage, sir. And we have our sponsors here with us today also. So I would request Mr. Aftab Kharbanda from Vice President Chef Drilling, who has flown in from Dubai, if you could kindly come on the stage. And I request Roma to assist the gentleman with the lighting of the lamp. I would also like to request Mr. Khan, A.A. Khan, he is sitting here, and Mr. S.C. Soni and Mr. Mishra, all of them leading luminaries who actually serve the industry and are continuing to serve in various capacities, and IADC founder member, and Mr. Avinash Chandra, sir. Mr. Avinash Chandra. So they were all instrumental in running offshore drilling services. Mr. Mathavan is here now, asset manager of Mumbai High. I request him to come up on stage. So we've got a full house now. So the lighting, Roma, and of course Mr. Sanjay Kumar Singh, he's also here. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you for the applause. Thank you. We are now going to have the safety moment. So couple of stories to reinforce safety in our minds. I would like to call upon Mr. Anwar Momin. He's the QHSE manager, Quality Health, Safety and Environment Manager for Shelf Drilling in India. He's had 33 years in the industry. He's worked in drilling, HSC, he's worked all over the world, Gulf of Mexico, Africa, Egypt, Saudi, Indonesia, Thailand, and he's been here with Shelf for last many years. I've been meeting him and interacting with him. He's also the head of the IADC Safety Committee now. Anwar, could you come up on the stage, please? And Anwar is also an avid traveler. I've actually had the good fortune of traveling with him when we went to do some safety meetings on behalf of IADC to Duliajan, Ahmedabad. So go ahead, Anwar.
Hi, good evening everyone. As we normally start our safety meetings with a safety briefing, obviously which comes with a safety moment. Vikram, can you go next? So we're just going to show you a short clip and then I'll have a chat. Thank you. That's it. So do you know what's the message there? Why it happened? Do you think that's one very most common reason for having that kind of incident? Anyone from the audience here? Actually, I don't know, I'm in a spirit of getting the audience speaking for me. Sorry about that. That's the reason I'm expecting some answer from the audience. Anyways, if you look at it, do you think there's a complacency in this video? Or maybe the guys knew? We don't have much information here. But if in our industry, what we are going through the phase is we are very hesitant to ask someone. If you think we go to ask, बोलेगा तुझे मालूम है कि इतने साल से काम कर रहा है और ना थोड़ा इज्जत का भाजी पाला हो जाएगा kind of thing. So people are very hesitant to ask something. Second thing is not stopping the work. Stop work authority is not used. If you think something is not right, instead of isolating, we are putting our hands and giving a sacrifice to our body parts, which is very no to us. We need to pick up these lessons because our industry is going through a phase where obviously we're going to be having a new inductees coming into our industry in the streamline. Because we're going to be phasing out seniors will be away, so we need to train, coach, mentor somebody. But this kind of video shows the people what is the right way of doing things, what is the wrong way of doing things, how we can protect and prevent people not to get hurt. Yeah. So the message is very loud and clear. And sometimes I know showing blood and the safety meetings on board the rig is not a good thing, but the message sometimes it goes very bright, because it shows you the real life. There could be very glossy thing we can show, yeah, this is the highest peak salary paid, this, that, but a lot of, with the peak, with whatever the incentive you are going to get, with that there is also a lot of hazard involved in your job. Just only thing is make sure you take care of yourself and obviously taking care of the others, especially when somebody is around there. We expect them to supervise, make sure they observe, make sure they are under the leadership of supervision, they take care of it. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Anwar. I would now like to call upon Rohit Girgune. He's the HSE manager for Constellation, which is a Brazilian company operating a deep water drilling rig for ONGC in India. Rohit has got more than 16 years of experience in drilling HSC. He's a fire technology and safety engineer from academic background, and he's worked internationally as well as in India. Rohit, please come up on stage.
Okay, good evening all. Vikram, can you please? Okay, today's safety movement is use of rear seat belts in cars. I think this is the current affairs nowadays, and this is a very important lesson also. So these are a few safety movements. In that safety movement, safety belts are first line of defense. This is very important. If you don't wear seat belt, your airbags will not operate. So we have to always wear our rear seat belts also. That is more important. If you do not lock it properly, your airbag will not operate. And most importantly, seat belts keep you in place during the impacts. We all know the importance of seat belts now, but still we are hesitant to wear it. And now we have to make a practice every day, like safety. Okay. And seat belt reduces the risk of serious injuries and deaths. And there are few videos also. What happens when, in case of an collision, rear seat passengers thrown at a force of 40 gravity, it means 40 times with the weight. If your weight is 80 kgs, it is almost 3200 kgs the weight. So you can imagine the hit. Thank you. Anyone like to add something? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rohit. So we move on to the inaugural address by Shri Pankaj Kumar, Director Offshore ONGC. He needs no introduction. Everyone in the room knows him. But I just want to say one or two, things. Before he became Director Offshore, he was the asset manager in Cambay and then in Ahmedabad. When he was in Ahmedabad during COVID, they set a record of drilling the highest number of wells in 1 year. So 127 wells. I mean, I'm just saying that we are all from the drilling community. So you know onshore how difficult it is to drill wells. Now imagine COVID has happened, lockdowns are there, even more difficult. And in those 12 months, despite COVID, when maybe 3-4 months were, you couldn't operate properly, 127 wells were drilled, which is a lifetime record in Ahmedabad asset. So kudos to Mr. Pankaj Kumar. Of course, he was also intimately involved, and not involved, I would say he gave a lot of encouragement and support for the salvage operation of Valiant Driller. So we thank you for that, sir. It was a tragic incident which happened, but with the support of ONGC, with the support of Director Offshore, Director TNFS, the rig was able to be salvaged. And you're actually going to listen to that presentation later today. But I would request Pankaj Kumarji, if you could kindly come on stage, sir, and give the inaugural address. And I request Shobha, if you could come and give a token from IADC side, a potted plant from keeping the environment in view as a token of appreciation to our dignitary. Actually, I forgot. I'm supposed to call Mr. Narinder Jindal to come up and give the potted plant to Mr. Pankaj Kumar. So Jindal Saab is the Vice Chairman of IADC South Central Asia chapter, and he's also the head of shelf drilling in India.
Good evening, everybody. Namaskar. Singh Saab, Pandey Saab, key executives from ONGC, and there are some stalwarts of ONGC from drilling discipline who have held key positions their time. Industry experts, drilling fraternity present here. Very good evening to you all. At the outset, I would say thank you very much for calling me here and making me part of today's technical deliberations. And when we are holding a technical meeting or deliberations, sometimes I feel why this formal one, not needed as such. Why can't we get into the business right at the first instance itself? But even then, really it's a great moment to be with you all here and getting a chance to hear all of you. Some presentations are lined up. Good one, I have been told. I'm aware that IADC was founded in 1940, and since then it's working in spread of knowledge, exchange of ideas and capabilities, taking drilling experience to new levels, exchanging experiences across the industry among the drilling contractors and operators all. And that's the reason so much of improvement, I believe, in drilling technologies and in operations of rigs, be it onshore, offshore, deep water, shallow water, has taken place. So for sure, a lot of credit goes to this forum. I'm also told that South Central Asia chapter, wherein we are in India, was started in 1998, and it is probably one of the most vibrant and active chapters globally. Today I can say the credit goes to Jindal Sahab, but I know one of the veteran is Karle Sahab also for this. So we may have, I believe, a big round of applause for both of them. Definitely exploration and production technologies have been advancing over the years. We are going into tougher plays, HPHT, deeper waters, deeper plays, targeting to drill even the basements. So a lot of challenges still there. Still drilling in ultra deep kind of a thing, very few are capable of doing those activities, as far as the resources are also very limited. Still we are struggling on the efficiency part of it. I'm talking on the, on the frontiers, on the deepers, ultra deepers, those lines. And as all of you are very well aware, India is also moving in that direction. Already Reliance has developed 98/3, the deep water block in East Coast. We are in a process of developing a deep water project in the East Coast. Ultra deep also we are trying, few of the exploratory wells have been drilled there. In West Coast also, I think now we'll be moving west of wherever we are operating. We should be very thankful to Government of India, Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas, with whom afoot a lot of area which was earlier termed as no-go area has been released. And for sure that may give more opportunities for E&P industry in India. Who knows, 1 or 2 or 3 more Mambehais are there in those waters. We pray to God, we get it. And then the responsibility lies with the people sitting here. Explorationists, they'll do their job. They'll say, go and drill there. But how good will we drill is on us. Next important challenge, I believe, is drilling in mature fields. Because drilling in a virgin field and drilling in a mature field, these probably are two different techniques as a layman I can think of. We are also facing problem now. If we go for drilling a new well or sidetrack or workover, wherever we go in Mumbai High or even in Hira, Neelam or anywhere in onshore also, depleted kind of reservoirs, they require special skills. I think even these are two different skill sets which are needed, and a lot of experience sharing need to be there to drill a good well, because I'm more than sure all of you, nobody wants to khodo a gadha. All of you are interested in drilling a well. So on a routine basis, people are coming out with technologies, with newer and newer chemicals, how to drill in mature field, controlling losses without spoiling reservoirs. Next important is completions. We have drilled a good well, but if we don't complete it the way it should be, the deliverability will not be there. In fact, we should not call ourselves drilling engineer or something. We should call ourselves well engineers. Be it drill, well services, all hand in hand, go for workover, especially in offshore. The rig remains same. In onshore it changes, in offshore also. At places we change, but at place like in our case it is same rig which is doing both the jobs. So, why I am mentioning all this is you people should be proud of yourself if you are called well engineers, not the drilling engineers. Third thing which I feel important is, of course, today the crude prices are very high. Any price we ask for a rig or for a services is paid for. But just a couple of years back, we were struggling to get the prices. So we need to always improve upon efficiencies, and we need to work on how to reduce the cost, the well cost, which includes drilling as well as completions. The tangibles not in hand. The only thing in hand is efficiencies, NPTs, avoiding complications, designing a well in such a way that we don't enter into a complication and ultimately end up non-productive time or spending rig days in fighting with the complication and all. So that's another area, and I'm happy, and we observe that in that aspect also a lot of advancement has been made in past, and that aspect has also been improved. And lastly, I would say, which I should have told at the beginning, is the safety. We call it just safety for man and material, but in my opinion, the OPEX, the productivity, the efficiency, everything is safety. If we are able to manage good asset integrity, we are probably safe as well. At the same time, we are giving attention to all the three aspects as well. Just now a safety movement has come. In fact, when Mr. Anwar gave a safety movement, I was expecting that it would be seat belt first. Very recently we had. Because an unsafe condition does not see who's sitting where. They don't identify the person. And as far as our experience, especially in our industry in India is concerned, when we analyze most of the unsafe acts, we find it's hand injury, finger injury, slip and fall. So sometimes it's, as you mentioned, not knowing the right thing or not knowing how to do, and in spite of that, not asking somebody who knows it. Most of the time it's overconfidence, negligence, and that cost heavily, sometime on life, sometime on disability, and of course the third aspect is the operation. So day in and out, new compliances are coming up, and new SOPs are being made, but the most important is following the SOP, the behavior part of it, the cultural part of it. I don't know how many of us I have not done. let me admit first. While coming from our home or respective places where we were, sitting on the back, had tied the seat belt. And daily we are hearing this. So as a culture, we have not adopted it, which need to be adopted. So these are the few points I said at the beginning, but I know there are 3 very good presentations lined up, so I'll not come in between those. Let us hear all those, let us listen to the presentation and have good deliberations ahead, and I wish today's event meet its purpose. So, Jai Hind, thank you so very much for calling me here.
Thank you, Pankaj Kumar ji, for words of wisdom. I would now like to call upon Shri O.P. Singh, Director, Technology and Field Services. He's been in this post for about 2.5 years. He's a mechanical engineer with 32 years of experience and has demonstrated dynamic leadership and vision as he progressed through various roles, both in India and abroad. He's worked in Vietnam, Iran, Qatar, Brazil. He was also the head of the Nava supply base, where he made significant improvements in the performance of the logistics, offshore logistics. So I would, I mean, the list goes on and on, but I think most of you in this audience know Singh Saab well. We've worked with him for many years. So welcome, sir. I would like to call upon Mr. Arun Karle, our mentor. I would call him the youngest person in IADC, Mumbai. He was one of the founders of IADC chapter, mentor, most enthusiastic IADC person that we have met. So I call upon, Meenu Boro from ONGC. If
Yes, very good evening to all of you. Respected Shri N.C. Pandey sir, my colleague on board of ONGC, Director Offshore, Shri Pankaj Kumar, all veterans from drilling industry, key executives from ONGC, friends from IADC, distinguished E&P industry captains, business partners, dear ONGCians, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Again, very good evening to all of you. Today, I am extremely delighted to see especially our old captains of drilling industry. Pandey sir, Mishra sir, Soni sahab, Khan sahab, Avinash Chandra sir. So, friends, it's on behalf of IADC SCA chapter, it's our great privilege and true pleasure to welcome the luminaries of drilling fraternity today evening. Sir, we are truly honored by your gracious presence amongst us. We all have been a source of inspiration for us, as well as you all have led the E&P industry from the front. Your guidance and remarkable leadership has also motivated us to do better with each passing day. We are extremely delighted to welcome you all for today's IADC Technology Meet and very grateful for your physical presence. Please do continue to bless us with your wisdom and wealth of experience, for which we shall be always remain indebted. Thus, with sheer grit, determination and perseverance, we have been able to successfully blunt the COVID onslaught. Living up to our oilman instincts, we were able to ensure E&P business continuity even during pandemic restrictions. In fact, we drillers, Dr. Afsar was mentioning that we should call well engineer, but I feel we love to be called drillers. So we drillers have kept on fueling the growth of oil and gas industry ever since its inception. Drilling actually bridges the gap between exploration and production. Without drilling, elusive drop of oil cannot be brought to the surface. In the present context, we see that with fading of COVID impact, global oil demand and thus mobility is back to near pre-COVID-19 levels. Oil has escaped this corridor of uncertainty without impending the energy transition. World needs more and more oil and gas now to deal with energy shortage while pushing to transition to renewables and low carbon fuels. Friends, we are in the midst of a massive transition towards a sustainable economy, especially when world is witnessing one of the worst energy crises of all times. IEA predicts India oil demand to rise to 7.1 million barrels per day by 2030 from its current level of 5 million barrels per day consumption. It is also a forecast that there will be no degrowth of crude oil till 2050. Our industry, therefore, must leverage this phase and aggressively pursue for making sustainable part of its core business. Accordingly, all our system and processes should be paced up for optimizing efficiency and marching towards low carbon emission E&P operations. Therefore, we all have to work collectively and undertake strong and effective measures to carry out operations in sustainable, cost-effective and energy-efficient manner, keeping higher efficiency and productivity as our main focus. And this objective cannot be achieved without latest technology, induction and digitalization. So keeping in view the relevance of today's technology meet, I can share that we have aggressively pursuing induction of new technology in ONGC also. Since all our seniors are here, so I am going to give you a count how we have introduced the new technology in ONGC. We have introduced underbalance drilling, managed pressure drilling, casing while drilling, liner while drilling we have just completed in one well, fishbone technology, auto driller, axial oscillation tool, engine peel, RTDMM, radial drilling and HPST frac jobs are some of the major ones undertaken by us in recent past. Friends, after COVID, now industry is moving from new normal to no normal. An environment of uncertainty and ambiguity in which today oil industry is passing through requires continuous flexibility, innovations, investment and reinvestment in IT infrastructure. Data and analytics are vital for E&P industry, adding significant value to digital transformation and production enhancement initiatives. ONGC goals of digital transformation are being led by our Digital Center of Excellence, with many new digital projects, including upgrading of our SAP system to latest S/4HANA to augment our E&P business agility. In fact, AI/ML-based predictive solutions already under implementation for augmenting safety postures of our sensitive installations and maintenance of critical equipments. AI-based digital solutions have the potential to usher in a paradigm shift, even in behavior safety aspects. And let me reiterate, all these are being pursued within the ambit of our green objectives. Our basket includes solar, wind, LEDs, geothermal, and green hydrogen. Last year, ONGC saved 340 million units of energy due to energy efficient initiatives, 264 million units using renewables, and achieved a net reduction of 2.96% in our greenhouse emissions. Any discussion about technology and digitalization cannot complete without addressing the upskilling requirements of our workforce. In fact, their unlearning and relearning become part and parcel of our entire operational journey. This human aspect becomes the most critical in our entire scheme of things. Apart from these induction of latest onshore drilling and workover rigs with state-of-art equipment, improved equipment management through predictive analysis, new safety system, and safety trainings are major initiatives taken by ONGC in pursuance of our objective to achieve higher standards of safety in all areas of our operations. And whenever I think about IADC and the value that this forum adds to entire E&P arena, I am filled with a deep sense of satisfaction and firmly believe that forums like these must be encouraged and promoted even more as the challenges in our business are growing by the day. IADC as a structured forum has been promoting safe drilling practices, innovative technology adoption, and dissemination of knowledge to ensure that oil and gas supply lines remain open for the world. IADC Technology Conference are a perfect platform for sharing our knowledge, expertise, and innovative solutions, making it a win-win situation for all of us. IADC SCA chapter is one of the most vibrant chapter under IADC Global AG. I compliment the SCA chapter officials who work and create value not only for IADC but for entire industry. I am happy to share the various initiatives undertaken recently by your chapter. 3 seminars on hurricane effects and how to mitigate their impacts, which were conducted at a time when we at ONGC were recovering from the aftermath of destruction caused by Cyclone Taukte. All the 3 seminars witnessed participation of worldwide experts and audience and were a huge success. In fact, the then CMD ONGC, Dr. Alka Mittal, very eagerly joined the 3rd seminar when I apprised her about the criticality of this seminar and learning shared by subject matter experts. So my special thanks to Mike DeVos is not here, to Mr. Mike DeVos and Arun Karleji for these initiatives. The chapter DORIC has been started a new initiative called DORIC, Drilling Operation Incident Review Committee. to share incidents on offshore online risks and is proving to be very effective in sharing of experiences and mitigation measures taken. My special thanks to Sri Randeep Gandhi and his entire team of Doric under chairmanship of Sri V.V. Prasad CDS Salwater for these exceptional initiatives. Apart from the above, there have been multiple activities by the chapter both during and after COVID comprising of vital technical seminars, virtual meetings and workshops. As far as today's meet is concerned, this is apt time to discuss technology. I am looking forward to three very critical presentations which are significant in their own ways in terms of safety and operational success. First presentation is regarding casing while drilling, which we have used recently in Mumbai offshore, and we have completed 3 wells with this technology, and ONGC has created history by executing first global unified 30-inch and 20-inch casing while drilling. In Angola, self-drilling, our business partner and one of the largest drilling contractors in the world, especially for jackup rigs, will be sharing the innovative solution for installation of platforms using drilling rigs. This will lower the project cost and reduce dependency on heavy installation barges, and is certainly a path-breaking initiative for similar engineering projects. Well-coordinated and safe salvage operations carried out by Dynamic Drilling and its partners, insurance agencies, Resolve Marine, and well-coordinated team effort by ONGC, constituted entity involving asset, marine division, rig move cell, offshore engineering, CDS Salwater, HDS, and Mumbai drilling team. So, salvaging of Valiant Driller presentation will be also very encouraging and it will be very informative. Friends, therefore, I look forward to all these case studies and the learning outcomes. Before signing off, I will quote Henry Ford here. Coming together is a beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. So friends, let's work together today and always for success. With these words, I wish all of you, your teams and family members the best of health and happiness. Thank you and Jai Hind.
Thank you, Singh Saab. Lot of achievements. Thank you very much. So, ladies and gentlemen, we've had the good fortune of listening to our leadership, but we're running a little late today because of the traffic. We started late, so we're 50 minutes late, 5050. The 3 technical presentations that we have and the vote of thanks were scheduled to finish around 9 o'clock, but now it's looking like 9:50, which is quite late. So I don't want to actually ask the presenters to reduce their talks because the talks are so interesting. So I will request the audience to kindly bear with that we are late in the evening, and kindly stay here and listen to the presentations. Tomorrow is a holiday in any case, so we can have one late evening. So with that, I would like to request Soni Saab, Mr. S.C. Soni. I'd like to briefly introduce him. So actually the first presentation is the jackup rig salvage. So actually we're running in the reverse order, I'm sorry sir. But that was the program. So jackup rig salvage, where we have Mr. Soni from Dynamic Drilling, followed by Mr. Davinder Bagga from Resolve Marine. Mr. Soni will talk about for a few minutes, and then Mr. Bagga is going to talk about how they actually salvaged the rig. Mr. Soni also is well known to all the drilling folks over here. I have known him for many years, from the time I think he was high technology coordinator, maybe before that. But he went from position to senior position. He was retired from ONGC as the asset manager in Agartala. And he's won many awards during his career. To name a few, Engineer of the Year Award in 2017, ONGC Chairman Award, Young Executive of the Year. He's organized Cementing Technology Meet in 2000 in ONGC Mumbai. So there are many credits due to him. But in interest of time, I would like to request Soni Saab sir, if you could come on the stage and give your presentation. Thank you very much.
I'll start from here. Can you put first slides? Thank you. 17th September 22. You all know today is the day to pray the Lord Vishwakarma, the architect of gods, creator of tools and mechanics. We all are seeking his blessings for a progressive, prosperous and successful life and the growth in our work. Vishwa Puja is celebrated on 17th September annually. Happy Vishwakarma. Respected Singh Saab, Pankaj Kumar ji, Pandey ji, Arun Kalde ji, and all the senior executives of ONGC and ex-ONGCians, the old leadership who are present here, IADC members, IADC officers, and the industry leaders, executives, ladies, and friends. Good evening. It is an honor to have opportunity to address this distinguished audience. Let me start by saying few words about the background of our presentation. When I entered from that room, I saw these two rigs. You see the orientation of this rig. I could not see its derrick. I immediately thought, oh, it's my rig. It's really, really painful to see this rig without derrick. 17th May 2021 is indeed an unforgettable day for us. Cyclone Tauktae had hit the west coast of Indian offshore. And our rig was deployed on an N24 platform. And it caught in the eye of storm. The wind gust was in the range of plus 150. Cyclonic, we never seen this type of effect in 50 years. At last we lost the derrick, the structure, and all the equipment towards starboard side, a water depth of 65 meters. Mrs. Resolve Marine was engaged for carrying out this critical salvage operation, recovery as well as disposal of wreck debris. They commenced the actual operations at N24 location on 4th April 22, and the rig Valiant could sail from that platform on 13th May 22. They took 39 to 40 days just to salvage this wreck. Excellent job. Can I try from here or you can do that? Yeah, I'll go fast. We got the warning of Cyclone Turkey issued to the rig on 12th May 21, and we took all the safety precautions to avoid these cyclonic adversities and keep the safety of our life as well as the asset. Let me come straight away to the 16th of May. The rig Valiant Driller continued working at N24 platform with the installation of Christmas tree up to 17:30 hours in the evening. We secured all the setback load on derrick and equally distributed on starboard side as well as the port side the setback. The design derrick setback is 600 kips of setback load at 100 knots. We secured the rig floor, pressurized the gripper to 5000 psi, tightened all the bolts of tie-down clamps at the torque of 12,000 foot-pound, and skidded the entire cantilever fully inside in a storm survival position. And we secured everything in a safe mode. We suspended our work also. 17th May last. The cyclone path changed towards the rig location with rapid increasing intensity of wind speed. At 10:30 hours, the weather worsened. You can see, we reported the wind speed 100 to 105 knots, the gusting to 120 knots, and the swell was 9 to 10 meter. Everything happened in a very wrong way at 15:30 hours. The wind speed tremendously increased to 120 to 130 knots at the direction of 210 degree. The sustained gust was plus 150 in a circulation direction, in a vortex effect. And such continuous gusting was not witnessed in last 50 years. The rig Valiant Driller caught in the eye of the super cyclone, I can say, and the derrick structure, the transfer section, the rig floor, all the equipment, it broke down the skid beam, which was actually we secured, fell down into the sea on the starboard side. Thanks to God, 62 personnel on board were safe. They mustered inside the accommodation. We took all the action. Once post-incident, the power of the rig was restored. We checked the integrity of life-saving appliances, firefighting appliances. All the concerned authorities were informed about the incident. ONGC, MSV were mobilized to assess the underwater conditions. We carried out the seabed sonar scan also by FOGRO. We assessed the rig stability as well as the safety by MWS, DNE and ABS class. Rig being next to the producing platform, it was very important for us to continue with the manning of the rig. And due to monsoon condition, the high underwater currents, visibility was very poor. The recovery operation could not be started immediately. Okay. Let me come to the last slide. Since my colleague or my co-presenter, Mr. Bagga, is here, he will go through all those slides and presentations and plus some videos also. But before that, let me actually thank everybody. The project could not have been achieved without the full support and absolute cooperation from ONGC at all levels, including MDT team. We are very grateful for that. And there was an excellent cooperation and support, understanding between dynamic as well as resolve. during the entire work removal project. We would also like to thank Resolve Marine for its efforts, and they agreed to present this case study here in this forum, and Mr. Bagga has come from US, and he was actively involved during the project, and he is heading the Resolve operation. I welcome Mr. Bagga, please. Thank you. All the best.
Thank you, Soni Saab. Quick introduction, Davinder Bagga is Global Operations Manager of Resolve Marine. The fact that they were able to salvage the rig, I don't need to introduce him anymore, I'll let him speak.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would basically focus on the technical part of this salvage operation. That is the main theme here. So, little introduction about Resolve, who we are and what we do. We are a 40-year-old salvage company, and we are, if not the first, we are probably in the first 2 or 3 salvage companies in the world. We have global presence, and we have 3 main lines: marine salvage, wreck removal, and emergency response. We have offices all over the globe, and our clients include major insurance clubs, oil majors, Indian Navy, US Navy, British Navy, and we have a global arrangement with the SpaceX. So some of the important projects, and we are actively involved in India. We have a very long presence in India. We have a full-fledged team here in India, and some of the projects which we have done in India, which some of you may have known: MV Black Rose, MT Janessa, and King. And INS Sindhu Rakshak was a very important one. This was a submarine which actually had sunk. We were able to salvage the whole submarine. Then we did INS Betwa. Some of you may know this was the ship which actually had gone in the dry dock. Unfortunately, when we did that, we did N23 jacket, which was 2,200 tons, and we actually lifted it and removed it from the site. We did D30 jacket, and then we did Valiant drill deck removal. Some of the unique projects which we have done, and we don't have time, but you can actually Google these up and see what Resolve is doing. One of the very interesting ones would be DB1. If I have time, I would like to show you the small video, what exactly it means, 6,000 metric tons of lift. And then we have another one which is in New York. We did a bridge removal, Tappan Zee. Okay, so talking about this drill derrick, this was a long piece of equipment, approximately 220 feet, and estimated weight of the derrick and associated equipment was supposed to be around 600 metric tons. Modo Interests, which is Skold and the owners of Valiant Driller, they carried out a sonar survey and issued a global tender, and we were shortlisted through a global tender, and we were awarded the contract, and we started mobilizing in November end of last year, 2021. So this is how the pictures were given to us. You can imagine that this is the basis on which we have to now start doing the salvage work. These are the 3 legs of the Valiant Driller you can see, and this is the debris field out here, and this is the area where you have N24 platform. So based on this sketch which came through, our engineers were involved, and they came up that probably this is how it should look, okay? And then we developed scenarios. We thought, okay, one of the scenarios is that part of it is embedded down into the mud seabed, and the other scenario which we can, because the pictures were not very clear, the data was not very clear, we thought that it is probably broken into 2 like this. So it was scenario 1, scenario 2, but we did not know for certain if this is exactly the situation. So we had prepared our lifting arrangements, which were based on the two anticipated options, scenario 1 and scenario 2. And we used, main lifting arrangement was 4 into 300 metric tons of chain pullers, which are hydraulic chain pullers and which are actually in conjunction with gas-based heave compensators. We will come back to that little later in future, slides little later. And this barge was also equipped with 300-ton crane. And of course, the depth was such that we had to use sat divers. And the guy, means you work in these fields all the time. You know that the visibility is a very big challenge in west coast of India. So our idea was that we do a multi-beam survey and find out the exact location or orientation of the wreck, and then go ahead from there. Okay, so this is how we were thinking. Our engineers prepared this, that this is probably this is how the chain pullers will be sitting on the barge. This is how the derrick is sitting there. We will go and lift it. And this is currently we lift the derrick. We have a material barge. We'll use cranes. If we need, we scrap it, and we will actually put it on the material barge. So it was what we had anticipated. And this is what a chain puller looks like. These are the hydraulic chain pullers, and these are the 3-inch anchor chains, grade 4. And just to give you an idea, that 90 feet of this chain weighs around 3.5 tons. So, and each link is about a feet. So don't go by that it may be a small chain. These are the two gates on this side and on this side. And these are the pneumatic pistons which actually control the operation of these gates. And depending on how complex the job is, we can actually control them using computers, and they can work synchronously or they can work independent of each other. And depending on how we are lifting it, which chain needs to come up more, which area is heavier, which needs to get more support, all this can be organized based on the computers we use to operate all these chain pullers. Then there is a manual mode where you don't need all these hi-fi computers, and we can do completely manual. And next slide will show you what a heave compensator looks like. This is a gas-based heave compensator. Each unit is rated at 175 tons with a stroke of 2.5 meters. And nitrogen is used in these heave compensators at a pressure of 200 bars. And depending on how much stroke or how much leeway or how much flexibility you want to use, you can adjust the pressures. Again, these are computer controlled. This was the kind of lifting arrangement which we had planned for, that we will be lifting it, we'll be bringing it up using chain pullers and using the crane. Okay, and this is where the reality was, that we got this mooring arrangement done, and you know better than me that all these red pipelines means naked pipelines. There is no, you can't touch them, you can't go near them, you have a serious problem. So this is the field we were supposed to be working in, and you see that area where you have N24 platform, and this is the all debris field nearby. All right. This is how we had anticipated that we will be using 4 chain pullers along with the heave compensators. So this is, and along with our sat diving equipment and all that stuff, this is the pictures when the mobilization of the barge was being done in Abu Dhabi. And so our marine spread comprised of customized crane barge, 2 tugs, crew boats, material barge, additional support vessels. We arrived in Mumbai in Feb 2022, this year. Our salvage team was an international team which comprised of people from USA, UK, and you name it. We are an international company, so we call upon all of our talent whenever and wherever it is needed. We had chain pullers, heave compensators, hot tap equipment. Hot tap equipment, if some of you may not know, is something which we use to actually go in and remove the fuel from, or the lubricants from the tanks and other things, so that there is no pollution there. And we had remotely controlled hydraulic saws, which we had flown in from Houston. They can go and they can cut the thing on their own. The idea being that you don't want stresses in the system. You don't want a diver to go and cut a particular item which is under tension or under stress. It has a tendency to spring back and hurt the diver. So all these things were done. And what happened when we were actually mobilizing, the thing started that we had an Omnicon variant at the mobilization stage. UAE, Middle East was shut down. India was very worried. All over the world, everyone was worried that because of this new variant. Luckily, this turned out to be a kind of a minor variety, but we were actually under tremendous stress because we were mobilizing for the job and this problem started. And then, of course, we had to, when we came in here, there was some draft DGS regulations which came about and which we had to implement. We did that. And after all the statutory clearances, and that was, I think, thanks to ONGC and thanks to everybody who was involved to get us those, to help us in getting those clearances, we came, actually, our barge and the convoy went on the scene on 1st April. This is how the barge looked like. So see the difference when you saw the barge in Abu Dhabi, and this is how the thing is when it is moving on to the field. Okay, so when we arrive on the site, what do we find? We find that the orientation of the wreck is now different. It is not what we had anticipated and what we had planned for. It is different. Wreck has broken into 3 pieces. We were thinking it is maybe folded over and we can still pick it up, but now the wreck 3 pieces are at different locations. And this was a very challenging one, that the base section weighing close to 240 metric tons is lying approximately 1 meter away from the leg of N24 platform. This was a very, very challenging thing for us. We had a high pressure gas pipeline, which I think everybody knows. And we were already getting delayed because we were now starting the job in April. And this thing had become, an orientation had changed, the thing had broken into 3 pieces. So we'll see this in next slides. And we were worried that we have to finish this job now. This is the MBS image from survey data on 1st April. So this is how you see the thing is there. This is where you can see the wreck. And this is when our team came and they saw this. This is how the rig and the platform was sitting. This is what our engineers, again after the survey, they estimated this is how the thing is sitting. And these are the 3 pieces, and this is the base section here. This is the main one. This was opposite of the original thing what we had actually been given. So we had to go back to the drawing board right there and then and come up with a plan what we need to do. So you can see this is a schematic diagram, how the sections are sitting next to N24 platform. You can see that actually if you're looking at from top, you can't make out that there is any gap. But we knew that there is a very, very minor gap, about a meter between the leg. Very lucky that N24 got unscathed from this one. This is the pictures. Okay. This is our guys are there down below actually checking. This is how it looks like. And these are the 4. This is how close the barge is. You can see this is the Valiant driller N24 and the barge. This is, you can see how close we were there. 2 pictures represent how close we had to go in because we had to go for a vertical lift. And that means we could not grab onto it and move it because of the oil pipe, this high pressure gas pipeline, which was very critical. And I can tell you, we spent a lot of sleepless nights at that particular moment. And we had actually courtesy ONGC cooperation with them. We kept the well alive for most of the time, except during that particular lift, which was for about 8 hours. So this is, we were about, the drilling rig was about 17 feet. We were about 5 meters away, and we actually closed the well for approximately 8 hours, and the lift was successful. So this is a small video which shows you how the divers were going, and they were running the carrying out a dry run. This is what a bell looks like. Maybe most of you have seen that. Unfortunately, some videos quality is poor, so we will move with this. This is what a chain puller looks like. This is a heave compensator, and this is a gas bank. These gas banks are the ones which hold 200 bar pressure or accumulators. These are the heave comps. If you see, the interesting thing to see here is this chain puller actually slides on this frame. There is a frame there. The chain puller actually moves on the frame, and chain puller is hooked on at the back with these heave compensators. So the whole assembly is actually sliding on the frame. These heave compensators are in turn, this is called a whelp, where the heave compensators have been with the wires hooked onto a fixed point. So let me see if we can show you the video. You can see here, these heave compensators with a wire are connected here. These are the gas banks. I will actually show you a better quality video. This is, let's move on to this. This is a chain puller, how the chain puller works. Let's see if we can show this video. These are the heave compensators. You can see they have been extended, and they actually move along with the what you call the swell of the barge. So this is moving on quickly, partially buried. The pipes were like darts in a dartboard in a different area. So we'll just quickly show you. This is a video. Again, I don't think the video is very good some reason, but this is how we are picking up. Okay, this is how the debris came out. We loaded on a material barge. This is what we picked up. We had to actually go and individually pick each and every pipe, and that was time consuming. Visibility was poor. Divers had to go and look for everything. Some of these things cannot be picked up by MBS, so we had to do this visually. This is how we maintained how much weight we have picked up, what we did. This is a grid we prepared. So this is Valiant driller, the triangle, 3 legs, and you can see this is a process what we are trying to show you. That green means that it is clean, we have done whatever we needed to do, and gray means we did search with the divers and we did search with the MBS, nothing was found. Red is the one which is direct flow. Blue means no debris, but still we have to look. And yellow means survey and debris found not yet clear. So that is how we had, each grid was 10 meters square. So this was a methodical way of going about making sure that everything is clean. One of the important things which I mentioned to you, that the project had extended into a little bit later time period. So the weather had started turning fresh. It was not easy for the divers to go down or the crane to do the ops. So Valiant driller actually came down and provided a lee for the operations. So you can see the pick is being made while the Valiant driller is actually down and working with us, providing a kind of a safe environment for the divers as well as for the crane. And this is how we got the debris in Mumbai port, and this is how the drill rig actually sailed out to Mumbai. One of the things which I started in the beginning, and I want to make it and emphasize it, we are a foreign company, we came here to do work. We would not have succeeded in this endeavor had it not been for excellent cooperation from ONGC, right from the bottom to right till top, everybody. And I must thank you from my heart for what you guys have done for us. The important thing was everybody had a belief, yes, it can be done, it will be done. There were so many challenging moments, but everybody kept calm. Nobody kind of put pressure on us, and we actually did it. There was a little bit delay because of the weather, but it happened. So let me show you now. This is another one. I have just finished this, one of the another ones. We're just coming back from there. This is another Modu, and we have done the helideck removal and the fuel removal from the tanks. You can see the tanks here. So this is how another one, Modu, looks like. Yes, punched through, and it went punched through and toppled and went over. It's about a 6-year-old Modu. Yeah. So we are now working on it. We just finished part 1. Okay, so questions, I think we are running short of time. I will be available later. You guys can ask the questions to me separately. And this is what I wanted to show you. This tells you, actually this is a better quality video. This tells you how a chain puller system with heave compensator works. So it is not related to this project, but it actually gives you an insight on how the system works. So this is a drill direct barge. If you see the complete one, this is a 6,000 metric tons of lift, highest lifted United States Gulf, which Resolve did. And all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Devinder Bakaji. Thank you very much. We will take a couple of quick questions. Does anyone have a question? Okay, okay, all right.
What is the maximum lift?
The maximum, was this the maximum tonnage that you?
Yeah, 6,000 tons is the maximum one, yeah?
Very interesting presentation. Thank you to Dynamic and Resolve Marine. I'll quickly move on to the next presentation, which is by Shelf Drilling, which I think Mr. O.P. Singh already talked about it. I'd like to introduce Aftab Kharbanda. He's Vice President of Operations and Projects with Shelf Drilling. He's based in Dubai and responsible for global operations and major capital projects. He joined the industry as a trainee engineer with Transocean in 2007 and later held various positions and project management roles in India, Singapore, Saudi Arabia and UAE. With Shelf, he's been since the inception in 2012, and right before the current profile, he served as the VP of Projects for major capital projects, responsible for executing fleet reactivation, out of service and new build projects. He's got an engineering degree in civil and a master's degree in infrastructure and project management from IIT Chennai. And he's also completed the general management program at Harvard Business School and is a certified program management professional. Aftab has traveled from Dubai, especially for a couple of days to Mumbai to share this talk with us. So Aftab, please.
Hi, good evening. He just mentioned about my start in the industry, and I still remember distinctly my first day on the Trident 2 as a trainee. I was a young man from Chandigarh who knew nothing about drilling or drilling rigs. And I remember trying to figure out what do they call the port side and the starboard side of this rig. Starting from there and reaching today where I'm standing here talking to the leadership of the Indian oil and gas industry, both past, present, and future. It's been a great journey and I'm really honored to be here. Thank you. A lot of you know about shelf drilling, so I won't spend too much time on this slide, but there's one aspect here that's very important, and that is that we are a pure play jack-up business. That's all we do, that's all we're focused on. And what that helps us do is really introspect and think about what are the true capabilities of a jack-up and push those boundaries. We are not distracted by other asset types, and so we are able to actually focus on what tools our people and our customers need to be able to succeed in operations. And that's the essence of this entire presentation. And so today we're going to talk about technical innovation. And I really like this quote because it says, innovation is seeing something, what everybody has seen, but then thinking what nobody has thought. And that's what we are trying to achieve on the technical side at shelf drilling. So as you know, in this big rig construction glut from around 2012 to around 2016, rigs flooded the market at that time. And then subsequently, even now, a lot of rigs that were half built and partially commissioned, especially in China, are still coming into the market. And what that did was so many different people, a lot of them not even drillers, just started ordering rigs at 5% upfront, 95% later financing. And eventually, a lot of the operators, especially who are not truly aligned with what they're trying to achieve, started going for what's the best out there. Let's try and get that instead of what is actually fit for purpose for our operation. And so technical specifications that were on paper great started overshadowing proven performance. And a lot of operators started giving out contracts to new drillers who had never drilled before but had the latest rig right out of the shipyard versus people who actually knew what they were doing. And also new versus old started becoming a criteria. We saw around the world different people introducing age limits and so forth, a lot of them which did not make sense for their actual operation. So there's two ways you can fight these problems. One is you join the problem and start ordering new rigs. The other is to actually take a step back and actually think what we're trying to do. And our goal is to drill wells. Sometimes it is to erect platforms, sometimes it is to abandon those platforms. But that's the key role that we play in the value chain. And so if we can focus on technical innovation with existing assets and go above and beyond just a drilling contractor out there on a day rate trying to do the best possible they could do and just leave. If we can actually truly become a technical partner, understand what our customers and operators really want to achieve and help them find solutions to those problems, that will become a differentiator for us. And so today I'll give two examples of such technical innovations that we've come up in the last few years to really help key operators solve particular problems that they had. So the first one is in the Gulf of Thailand. So some of you may know in Thailand, the well economics are very short cycle. So the wells only flow for a couple of years. So you have to drill very fast, and then you end up with a whole bunch of wells and platforms that need to be P&A'd, or asset retirement as they call it. And a lot of the operators there have commitments to the government to actually, cause they are drilling sometimes 500, 600, 700 wells in a year, that adds up really quickly. And so by the end of the concession, they need to retire all those assets. That's part of the commitment of getting the concession. And so we had a customer in the Gulf of Thailand. They were getting close to the expiry of their concession of a field, and they needed to abandon around 1,000 wells per year. And so they were trying to come up with ways to do it. Admittedly, these are relatively easy wells to abandon. Not too deep, 2 strings of casing. So you go in, kill it, pull 2 strings of casing, bunch of plugs, and you're done. But that's still a lot of wells to be done. And so the typical approach of going there, doing them one by one, was not going to cut it. They would run out of time. Now, this operator also drills in Thailand, so they're used to what's called factory-style drilling, which is extreme batch work. So they can do batches of 6 wells at a time, really fast, and because these wells are not complex or challenging per se, they are able to do some things which usually we would not. For example, they are able to cement offline after running casing. So you actually pull the BOP off after you run casing, move over while you cement offline. That means you have to have multiple circulating systems on the rig, not just the one active system. And so the challenge they posed us was, how can you come up with a factory-style way of doing asset retirement? What would that mean? That would mean offline activities all the time. You would be pulling, casing, and racking up pipe all the time, 24 hours. You would be skidding almost all the time. You could be sometimes doing up to 5 rig moves every month. And you could have up to 3 circulating systems on the rig at any point of time. That was the challenge, and initially it blew our mind. How is anyone ever going to solve that? And so your typical solution is build a rig designed to do it, right? But the problem is a new rig takes 2 to 3 years to build. So how do you solve that? They needed a rig within 1 year to be able to achieve it. So that schematic over there is the number of offline activities that are going on at any point of time on a platform. These are multi-slot platforms, so they have a lot of slots very close to each other, but you can have up to 5 different wells being worked on at any point of time. That's the level of offline work they were looking at. So our solution is, we understand asset retirement. We've done it in the past. We get what they're trying to achieve. So we set up a workshop with them and started going through step by step all the aspects that they need, what are the capabilities they need, what is the equipment they would need, what are the people they would need. And we came up with a light version that you can retrofit on an existing rig. So what did that mean? We managed to retain largely the rig floor infrastructure. So you kept the same derrick, but you completely redesigned the fingerboards. We were able to, they needed a bed space of up to 150 at times. So we had to upgrade all the living quarters to get up to 150, but we were able to retain our existing accommodation block and do that. We could be doing 5 to 6 rig moves a month. And so preloading ends up becoming your critical path, not the actual asset retirement. So we ended up with upgraded preload systems, not just in the way you take on water, but how it goes around into different tanks, so that we were able to preload within an hour and a half. And eventually, because you're sometimes skidding up to 45 times a day, so sometimes the rigs are skidding every 30 minutes, we needed to upgrade our transverse and longitudinal skidding systems to be able to keep up with it. You know, in a way, it's like turning the rig around in what it's designed to do. Typical jackup rigs are designed to do fewer marine operations, so fewer rig moves and skidding, and more hardcore drilling. This is turning it around. The drilling's not that hard. You're not really drilling, you're doing asset retirement, but you're skidding and rig moving all the time. And that was the challenge where we wanted to understand that our kit could take it. And so the end result was we managed to customize 2 rigs within 8 months from award and got them working. They eventually became some of the fastest asset retirement rigs in the world. At some point of time, we were down to 11 hours per well, which is what we achieved with these 2 rigs. Over their 18-month contract, we P&A'd close to 2,000 wells. And you know what? Thank you. You know, in the end, our strength is our people. They are the guys who know how to do this. So all we did was give them the tools, give the operator the comfort that we are capable of doing this, and they managed to achieve it. Also, one of them is actually capable of doing subsea P&A as well. Couple of pictures to illustrate what we're talking about. So on the left are a couple of drawings which we call an offline and online fingerboards. So the online fingerboard always has drill pipe. The offline finger, you're actually racking, casing, and tubing all the time and laying it down as you do asset retirement. We use a similar concept while drilling as well, where the online fingerboard always has drill pipe, and the offline fingerboard always has casing that you're racking offline and straight away running in instead of running in singles. To handle all of these, we have an offline activity crane up there, and you can see a picture of the actual fingerboards from that level. So the fingerboards are at 2 different levels, and on the elevation and on the plan view, they actually split each other depending on if you want to do tubing or casing. So that's what the rig floor looks like. You have an online hawkjaw or iron roughneck. You have an offline one. You have a bunch of different mouse holes depending on what you're trying to do. And all of this, you have an online crew and an offline crew at all points of time, 24 hours, not just in the days. And that's how you're able to achieve this incredible performance. All of this also involves a lot of work on the platform because you're connected to sometimes 5 wells at the same time. So we had dedicated cranes in the what's called the moon pool area or under the rig floor that could handle and sometimes keel haul, and they are actually capable of swinging outside the cantilever envelope, so you can actually bring stuff from outside the rig or straight from the boat sometimes onto the platform and also take it out. And so you could be rigging up BOPs and everything offline and setting up wireline operations and sick line operations completely offline on a different well. So that's on the asset retirement side. Let's go on the complete opposite end of the spectrum and actually build platforms. So here's the next challenge that we got. And this was from a customer in Angola. And in Angola, as you could probably expect, the lifting cost is very high just because of the remote location, the relatively poor infrastructure and so forth, but they are oil and gas rich reservoirs. So the customer wanted to develop a marginal field, but if you set up a regular jacket or platform and pipe it up from shore, it costs too much, close to almost $300 million. And what they were trying to do is come up with a light version, what they called a stacked template structure or an STS, which is a standalone jacket which you install relatively close to existing larger infrastructure or platforms, and then you put in subsea pipeline and power cables from the larger infrastructure. So this thing is only connected by 2 subsea lines and a power cable to the larger infrastructure. It pumps out all the oil and gas to the larger infrastructure, and then you use your existing setup to send it to shore. So the typical way of installing structures like these is to get a heavy lift barge out, right? Sounds easy enough. Not in Angola. In Angola, you probably need to mobilize something like this from either southern Africa or sometimes on the Gulf of Mexico, or worst case scenario from the North Sea. What that also does is, if you're going to pick up 500, 600, 700 tons with a heavy lift barge, it tightens up your weather criteria a lot. So you could have this super expensive barge coming from halfway around the world, sitting there waiting on weather for 40, 50, 60 days sometimes for one lift. And that costs a lot of money. And so they wanted to do this with a rig. And so the challenge they initially posed us was, can we do this with a jackup rig that will then eventually go on and drill that platform? Sounds great, but here's the challenge. As you can see in the drawing, you have a mud mat, that's easy. You have a couple of structures subsea, that's easy. You have a drill deck module on top that's already installed in this drawing, that's easy. Then comes the hard part. The big production deck on top, that's around a 350-ton lift. By that time, you already have structure coming out of the water right next to your hull. And so you still need to be far enough that eventually at the end, after drilling, you can jack up and leave. You can jack down and leave. And so to be able to skid out beyond this existing structure, pick up this heavy lift and skid back in, you need to make a 350-ton lift at an 85-foot cantilever extension. And that's the problem, because there are only 13 rigs in the world that can do that. And they are all in Northern Europe, mainly in Norway. So you're pretty much down to CJ70s or Gorilla class rigs. So that was the original challenge that they posed. And they recognized that they are trying to avoid the cost and pain of getting a heavy lift barge. But if someone from the North Sea ends up quoting you $400,000 per day for a jackup, the point is kind of lost. And so they asked us, can you guys do something about this? And so we were like, let's think about it. And so we came up with a couple of different solutions. First one was using rig ups. So we had a 75-foot rig, a BMC 375. And we said, well, why do we need to pick it up vertically from the rotary table? Can we do an offset? We thought about it, we worked through it, didn't work out because eventually you need drill pipe. And so we engineered it, and we actually did the first ever upgrade of a BMC 375 to an 85-foot cantilever. And so that's us testing a BMC 375 at 85 foot out, picking up a 400-ton barge in UAE to prove that it can be done. And so we worked on that. Along with this, we also did all the offline handling upgrades that I just mentioned for asset retirement so that they can actually drill this thing faster. And so what is supposed to be a 6-month AFE for this STS for drilling, we are hoping to achieve in 4 to 4.5 months because of all the offline upgrades. And so no one thought this could be done, and eventually we did it. And if some of you are interested from a structural engineering point of view, the actual cantilever deflection at 85 foot out, when you pick this thing, is only 6 inches. And so it's pretty cool. And just last week, we finished this project. And so that's the original mud mat going in. That is the rig picking up the lower subsea structure. Then you run the upper subsea structure on top of it. And then you run and pile 42-inch conductors, which are big if you've never seen them before. It takes up all of your rig floor. And so those become the structural corners of the platform, and eventually you drill through them as well. And through some of them, you can use dual wellheads and actually drill 2 holes. Then you pick up the drilling deck module. Eventually you pick up, so as you can see in the last one, that is the production deck module. And we had to keep it right at the aft end of that boat so it doesn't need to come any closer to the rig. Eventually we were only going to be 8 feet away from the existing structure when we were all the way out with the cantilever. That's how close it was. Interesting point is, they originally told us 2.5 years back that this thing would weigh 350 tons. They finished it at 351.4. That's less than 0.5% accuracy, which is incredible. And they actually offered us, if we want to remove that 1.5 tons, we said, let it be, it's fine. And so that's us making the final lift. That's me taking those pictures last Friday. I wish I had a video, but it only happened 8 days back, so they haven't put the videos together. So yeah, it was 9:30 a.m., 8 days back, when we picked up 351.4 tons, and we skidded in and landed it. And that is, I know it's kind of, the night picture doesn't show very well, but that's the rig standing next to the platform. And at 6 p.m. today, we ran in with the BHA and actually spudded the first well. Thank you. And so just to close out, I think I've managed to catch us up on time. For us, these are not one-offs. At Shelf Drilling, we think innovation like this is part of our business strategy. There's a finite number of rigs in the world. No one has built anything new in the last 5 years. No one has cut steel really in the last 6 months either. So even if you decide to do it now, you're at least 3 years away from a new build. And so what we have is what we have to work with. And if we can innovate our way through problems, we can find solutions and go back to our core strength, which is our people. Give them the tools, give them the rig that they need to succeed, and they'll do a great job. Thank you.
Any questions? So if you can just give your name and company before the question.
Yeah, I am G.K. Sinha, Head Subsea, Well Services, Mumbai. You have told your technique STS, how it is different from Cosmos, or it is same, Cosmos.
Sorry, sir, I'm not familiar with that term.
Conductor supported modular offshore structure, where first you drill a well and put the conductor, and it can extend up to the sea level, and then put the platform with the jack-up rig. And it is happening in all the this globally, where the marginal fields are being developed.
So I would presume the key difference here is this is a 10-well platform. And so you're able to achieve a lot more. So there are 6 drilling wells and 4 water injection wells on this platform through one infrastructure. And you're actually drilling through all the structural work, as you mentioned as well. But because the sequence is opposite, you have the infrastructure first, and then you start drilling. It enables you to do batch work. So you're actually drilling 10 wells in their AFE is 6 months. We are really internally hoping it'll be 4.5 months. But that's a lot of production achieved in a really quick amount of time from different directional wells drilled at the same time through the same kit.
Yeah, so that is good for the big fields.
So what I
So
suggest,
for marginal fields,
Sinha sir,
yes, sir.
because we are running out of time, this is very interesting, but I think it's a discussion which we can have over cocktails, if that's okay with you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Because we'll just have chance for one more question, but my request is just ask the direct question, and if there's a discussion, then we can have it later. Any other questions? Okay. Sorry, I'll give you the mic.
Yeah, Randeep Gandhi from Adani. How long it took you for the whole duration for the project?
For the STS installation?
Yeah, from start to finish.
The original plan was 35 days. We ended it at 39 because we were waiting on weather for 8 days. So if you take weather aside, we were ahead of the curve.
All right, good, thanks.
70 meters was the water depth. Current kept varying, but yeah. Thank you.
I think as the evening wears on, the presentations are getting more and more interesting, so thank you very much. It's time for our last technical presentation, so I would like to call upon, let me first introduce Ravi Sharma from Schlumberger. Ravi is the business line product and service delivery manager for well construction drilling based here in Mumbai. He's got 19 years of experience in different directional drilling, casing well drilling, remedial tools. And he's been a pioneer on casing well drilling in Malaysia, Southeast Asia. He's got a lot of world records in in casing well drilling and under his belt. I won't name all of them, but there's like 6 of them over here. And I think one was set in India. So congratulations. He's also done SP paper on global first dual casing milling benefit to shelf drilling, 7-15 days on abandonment. So I think some of the things are interlinked. Ravi, if you can do the presentation in the shortest possible time, we will really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Hello. Yep, thank you very much. Let me try to begin my presentation with a question. What is the potential saving in any technology which we can look into in your thought process? A day, a week? I would say directional casing well drilling has a potential to save almost 2 to 3 weeks of timeline. And when I talk about it, I'm coming with some data out here. So my presentation, I'll try to wrap up quickly considering the timelines that we are having. However, I'll take you through what exactly the Allegro directional casing while drilling means. We'll be talking about some of the BHA configuration, and then we will be talking some technical feasibility, how we are going digital and the way forward. So I know that one concern that has been raised particularly was that we are getting into a mature field, and we are into a country where 85% of the imports are for the energy are from imports. and we are truly looking forward for new exploration, but it is very important for us today to ensure the cycle time and the efficiency are being improved in the drilling process. So, overall in India, we have various challenges out there. There is circulation losses, back reaming, lost in hole, casing is getting floating, wiper trip, hole collapse in the various fields that we are looking into. In the directional casing well drilling, all these are considered to be a non-productive time, which in a day-to-day drilling activities is fair. So for those who are not well familiar with casing well drilling, it is just a process in which the drill string is replaced by a casing, and the entire BHA is somewhat locked on the bottom. So the directional BHA is being locked on the bottom. It does its directional part, and what you see is once we are at TD, this BHA is been tripped out, and we are not using any more drill pipe eventually during the drilling process. This is a small
drill lock assembly
video that to
the
show you
BHA
what exactly
to the casing
happens.
String. It arrives at the rig preloaded in the shoe joint. The BHA is made up to the drill lock assembly and is run to the bottom of the hole on the casing string. The conductor can be drilled out with the casing drilling BHA. Both the casing and mud motor rotate the bit and under reamer to drill the interval. The narrow annulus creates a high annular velocity for better hole cleaning. Low rheology muds and lower pump rates are used to manage ECDs. The casing grinds and smears the cuttings into the borehole wall to minimize fluid invasion into the formation. Improved wellbore stability and reduced losses minimize risk of lost in hole, improve borehole quality, and provide better cement placement. After drilling to the kickoff point, the mud motor is oriented to steer the well. Complex 3D well paths can be drilled with large diameter casing using a combination of directional, MWD and LWD tools. After reaching total depth, the annulus is circulated clean. A release tool is pumped downhole to unlock the BHA from the casing. The casing is slid over the BHA to secure the under-reamed hole and cover the BHA. The casing can also be spaced out and hung from the wellhead. The BHA is pulled to surface through the casing on a retrieval tool, eliminating stuck pipe due to key seating, instability, or differential sticking. Mud cake is not stripped by stabilizer or BHA passage, and the open bypass in the drill lock assembly reduces swab and surge as the BHA is tripped. After the BHA is retrieved, the cement head is made up to the casing string, and the well is conditioned. The cement is pumped and followed by the cement plug. The plug reaches its full-bore receptacle in the casing shoe, where it locks and seals to prevent cement U-tube. The cement plug can be drilled out with the cement in the shoe track without the need for a dedicated run. The TD Direct CD service. Save drilling time and associated.
So primarily this technology is fairly not new. It has been introduced in 1998. The first well test was being done, and after on we have been drilling globally all the places. So we will see that our presence is all over the globe, and right now with support of ONGC we have managed to do the unified non-directional casing well drilling. I would say that at a period of time at 2012, 13, 16, there are n number of records being set where 1338 directional casing well drilling had a set a world record. And that's where we say that when I'm standing out here, this is a robust technology ready to further make some more jobs in India. However, there are various, I would say, directional casing well drilling or levels out here. I won't be taking our time, but this is the level I will be talking about. We are talking about directional casing well drilling. That means the flat time of running the casing is completely eradicated. Every foot that we are drilling is kind of cased and we have secured the well. However, there are various, I think everybody will be echoing with my thought out here that all the contractors and drilling operators have seen drilling problems, and that has been caused due to various factors, and that is kind of non-productive time. When the pumps have issues, when we have well instability issues, when we are talking about poor ROPs and all those things. When we talk about casing well drilling, we are talking out here that, okay, we are handling the loss circulation by some called smearing effect or plastering effect. Actually, that reduces the losses to a certain extent, not completely though. There is a time saving where a flat time of casing running has completely gone, because the moment you have direction drilling, you have also casing the well at the same time. Every foot that you are drilling is already been cased. Again, there has been instances that we could see a complete casing string being removed. If there is a 4 CP plan, it could turn to 3 CP. We can talk about it, and that is where we have to think and work upon that. Again, a personal safety wise, we see less number of people. We don't want people on the monkey board. The casings are been like making up, running in, and keep on drilling again and again. And the rig requirements are also reduced. When I say rig requirements are reduced, that means when we have a very thin annular gap, the flow rate which is required in a specific drilling is lesser. Suppose in a 13.3 8-inch casing, when we are drilling a 17.5-inch hole, we require 800 gallons per minute. But the moment we are lowering a casing, and we have a very thin annular gas, we will not be able to pump that high. So we are coming down to 400 gallons per minute. So the pumps are not being pushed to their limits, and they're not down. Again, this is how the casing well drilling look like. And what we do is the entire casing is pretty much being locked. The BHA is being locked inside the casing, and it is kind of a replacement to the conventional BHA. So that is how it will be looking like. And most importantly, this is what I would like to show you, that here, when we have a 12.25-inch bit, we can incorporate MWD or a motor. We have MWD, LWD log. We have an under reamer right now placed, and the entire assembly is fairly been locked inside the casing, which is retrieved toward the later end. So that is what is something looks like. On the top, what you will look into a casing shoe joint, where you will be only looking at the shoe joint. A lot of preparation thus goes there. However, the BHAs can be further looked in the RSS or a mud motor. The only difference when it comes down to putting a motor or an RSS is the placement of the under reamer. And that's where, when we are using a mud motor, that time our reamer has to be just above the bit, because when we are doing sliding, we need that rotary action. Whereas with the RSS, it will be placed somewhere down here, and that's where we have a rat hole of 20 meter. Never mind, this rat hole can be further swallowed when we have a reamer shoe with a PDC cutters on its periphery. So that is, again, a rat hole is not a kind of issues. So point is, only thing that we need to understand that once the casing is lowered, wireline cannot be done. So whatever data that we are having will be a real-time log. Whatever logging while drilling tools we are having, that are the one who can help us out. That's it. And again, the cuttings that will be generated and will be coming on the shaker will be kind of a paste. It will be like a slurry. So we have to understand that the shaker will not be having a lot of cuttings that can be evaluated by the geologist that easy. But having a fair idea about the environment, and we know what we are drilling, like Seven Sisters and whatnot, that is where we need to know that that is where this is a kind of limitations will be there. Again, the cuttings will be fairly coming at least 10 to 15% less because of the plastering effect. Lot of cuttings will be kind of plastered, and that's where the losses and the seepage is somewhere controlled. Again, the job, I would say, every well which we are putting hands on cannot be casing well drilling feasible. No, never. It could be 50%, 60%. But eventually we have to go through a very collaborative approach of different software that we are having today. It is semantics, ideas analysis, torque and drag, hydraulics, and docks drilling OFX, understanding the BHA behaviors, and again a virtual hydraulics from MI SWACO. All the data has been incorporated. We will be getting, we understand that at a different friction factor losses, 0.2 open hole and 0.3 caged hole. Like this, we have to run different parameters. We understand what is the kind of, at TD, what kind of torque will be coming, what is the kind of casing connections are there, whether it will be able to withstand that torque, and we keep a buffer of around 20%. So if this line crosses red one out there, we will not take up the job to do it. Similarly, for the ECD management, the flow rate has to be ensuring with a very low, narrow gap. We cannot pump any high so that the formation gets damaged. And again, it's very important, a casing drilling fatigue has to be looked into. Primarily, this is important because when we are doing a directional well, it has to going through a cyclic loading of compression and tension. So any casing can be rotated to n number of times based on the SN curve. So that has to be also seen, and if it is passing that limit, we cannot do that. However, if the casing while drilling job is feasible and we can do it, definitely it is bringing saving on the table. But if it is not feasible, definitely not. So in order to improve the cycle time and the efficiency, this technology has to first pass all the analysis. Again, this is a real job that I have done back in Malaysia. What we do is whatever data is there, we try to start putting all our torque into that broom chart, and we see where exactly we are. We are again plotting all the directional surveys right there, and what we have seen is that though in the open hole we are talking about 0.25, 0.3 friction factor, it generally comes down to 0.4 open hole friction factor. So that is where the torque and drag has to be looked into. Actual inclination azimuth does not deviate much from the plan. We are able to catch up with the directional well. Under reverse have higher building tendency when we are using the kind of PDC bit kind of cutters, which is a new technology one. So that is what we have to also take into considerations. Again, this was earlier the casing drilling plan that we were trying to do, 30 inch, 20, 13.38, 9.5 feet and all, but it ended up with a different way in 42, 13.38, 9.5 and 4.5. So that way we are kind of eliminating one of the casing immediately when we are drilling in the real time. And again, 13.38 casing string interval was reduced by 5,000 feet. But all those practices comes when we are on the drawing board discussing all these fronts. Again, there's a lot of preparation that has to be done on the background. That's not an easy job like a vertical well. There is where a centralizer installation has to be done. We have to bring all the casings, at least the bottom part where a good cementing is required around the casing, so that we have to put the centralizer, crimp it on, and then send it across so that we have a 360-degree cementing around it. Again, for a BTC casing, I would say we have to kind of put the MLT rings in order to increase the torque rating. So these are the work that has to be done. I'm sorry, I'm trying to go faster in order to catch up with the time, but if there is any question, I'll be around, you can ask me and all. However, what you get on the rig is two shoe joints where what we have is stabilization and only a pin-ended protruding out. Directional BHA is being made up, put inside the rotary table, and we just make it up with the casing joint. This is the only joint that will be going. After that, all the casings are coming one over the another. After that, we have plug landing nipple joint, which is a kind of silent feature, but once we TD the well, we drop the plug for doing the cementing. And again, all the centralizers with the stabilization are there, which are put one over the another. So what I'm trying to tell here is there is a kind of complete replacement of the drill pipe with the casing right there, and there is no drill pipe required. Have you ever heard that we are racking back the casings like 9.5 by 8 instead of a drill pipe? This happens. So when we are further looking into improving the timelines, what we do is we start to rack back the 9.58 inch casing on the monkey board by making those changes to make it even faster. So that can happen. Splitter well head, in order to ensure that we can have 130 inch casing with two different kind of wells being drilled. So we can enhance the platform to drill n more number of wells. That can happen. So those challenges will come once we have already introduced this technology. Again, these are the complete packages that goes onto the job. Again, it is very important whether it is making any economical sense or not. So there is a digital solution where this particular app can be downloaded on anybody's cell, just to see when we are comparing the conventional case and the casing we're drilling, whether it's making any changes or not. So this app was being created by myself, and there it eventually produces that, okay, if we are drilling the well conventionally, how much time it takes, and when we are doing it with the casing we're drilling, how much time it takes. So you can play in your app, and then a complete chart is been there which shows you that, okay, casing while drilling and conventional drilling, how much cost saving is there and what is the total hours is being taken. So that kind of app is allowing you to just ensure and plan your wells in ahead, whether it will make some sense before even we go ahead and look for CWD. If it is not making sense, if there is no saving, is no point of discussing out there. And again, prior I move, I really wanted to thank the entire team who has given us an opportunity to introduce casing while drilling in the level 2. This is a small video where I will end my presentation, but it has really gone a long journey, and without the support of all the executives, it was not been possible. I can see some of the faces out here and really wanted to thank you, but it shows a journey, how long it took us for introducing the level 1, and now we are talking about the next level of direction CWD. Thank you very much. I think, Manav, I was right on time, though I rushed a lot, but if there is any question, you may please ask, or I'm around.
Ravi, very nice presentation.
Thank you, sir.
Very simple two questions. Number one, since you are not using drill collars here and you are using casing, does it mean that you have to only go with a premium casing and not conventional casing? This is number one. Number two, since no wireline log is being used, so you must be relying for perforation on LWD logs?
Yeah, valid point, sir. I would like to answer your first connection is, premium casing definitely is a solution out here. Leopard connection, ABWVC, all those connections are really a kind of solution, and we are, I think long back ONGC has also worked in that procurement direction where more torque rated casings are can be procured. So eventually if we are still having a BTC casing that we are usually doing, only difference is simply putting a BTC or MLT ring in between them to have a shoulder to shoulder connection, and that is good enough to ensure 3 times the torque ratings are being increased. What I would say that the maximum torque that we are getting on the surface, those can be achieved easily by simple MLT ring. So that part we are okay. But that is a very valid point where each and every kind of casings has to be looked into whether it will be able to take those kind of torque when we are at TD, and that could not be more than 80%. And the second question on perforations and all, yeah, okay, I'll take it.
So if you don't mind, we'll have it over the cocktails.
No problem.
One question Pankaj Kumar ji has.
Yeah, I may be having a stupid question, you know. No, the kind of man I am, I can ask that only.
No, sir, that's not.
What is the basic criteria going for conventional versus casing while drilling? Is it cost or the quality of the well?
It is the problem eradication. If we have a continuous problems in the well that are not being able to be taken care, that is one the major criteria. Number two, it comes down to the cost part as well. That is the flat saving time is making any economic sense. But majority of the client, when they are using it, they are trying to get rid of the problematic situation or the well is having a stability issues. That are the wells that are being really counted upon, sir.
So maximum number of wells with this technology you have done, are they in kind of a newer field or a kind of a matured field? What is your experience?
My experience is for the surface casings. For the newer field, this is very much applicable. But when it comes down to the matured field, then it comes down to the direction 958 and 1338, where we know the problems that we'll be encountering. That it makes sense, sir.
So there it is more of the quality than the cost. Because cost difference is, I would say, is peanuts.
Ideally, yes.
391, 268 or something you had shown.
Yes.
So it's nothing.
Cost-wise, there is not much of a difference, but the value it adds is what really is looked into, sir.
So should our presentation be not focusing on the quality of the well than the cost of the well?
So quality of the weld is definitely improved. What I've seen is the last well which I did at Bayan in Malaysia, there we were having 100 barrels an hour of losses, and when we were drilling this well in the beginning we were having full losses. So drilling with 100% losses, and later the circulation and returns were coming. So that losses came down to 10 to 15 barrels an hour. So that is the kind of quality that is being achieved. But eventually, it takes time. But yeah, I think your point is very much onto the cost. There is not a big difference, but yes, quality also comes into place.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Just a small, simple question. Has this technology been tried in any ultra-deep water well and in near HPHT environment?
Valid point, sir. We cannot do this job for ultra-deep water wells, considering that deep wells, the amount of torque cannot be sustained at the surface. Yes, well control. Yes, we have well control equipments with it, and we can have a separate session. This is where we have CCT tools that can be taken care. But we have the well control equipment, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Ravi. Thanks. So, big hand for Ravi Sharma from Schlumberger. We'll now like to felicitate the dignitaries who have come here from IADC side. So I would like to call upon our guest of honor, Mr. Pankaj Kumar, Director Offshore, to be felicitated by IADC, and I would like to call our IADC Secretary, Mr. Anirudh Patnaik, to come and do the honors. So just if you don't mind, we can. That was the sapling which will. And I would request Meenu Boro from ONGC to. So a big round of applause. And so I would request Pankaj Kumarji, if you can stay on the stage, and I would now like to ask our chairman of IADC and Director TNFS, Mr. O.P. Singh, to kindly come on the stage. And I would like to request our Joint Secretary of IADC South Central Asia Chapter, Mr. Gurpreet Singh Sara, if he can come and do the honors. And then I would request Meenu Boro to kindly give the memento. We would now like to request our sponsors of the evening. So we've got two sponsors who've supported this event, Shelf Drilling and Vantage Drilling. So I would like to ask the two gentlemen on stage to give a memento to each one of them. So I'd like to ask Zubair Khan from Vantage Drilling. Zubair, if you can come on the stage. And Aftab Kharbanda from Shelf, if you could come on the stage, please, and receive the two mementos. I would ask Roma to please come up on the stage with the mementos. No, sorry. Sorry. And I would like to request the two directors to stay on the stage. Thank you, Zubair. Thank you, Aftab. And I would like to request our speakers of the evening. Of course, Aftab, I should have asked you to stay on because you are the speaker as well. But I would like to request Ravi Sharma from Schlumberger and Devinder Bagga from Resolve. If you could come on the stage and receive your mementos from the directors. And Shobha is here with the mementos to be given. You have to come up. So just one last request. Thank you very much. So we have, as we said before, the three asset managers from the three assets of Mumbai offshore over here, and we would like to give them the mementos from the directors. So I would like to ask. Why not? Absolutely. Absolutely, sir. So we would ask Mr. Narinder Jindal and Mr. Arun Karle and Mr. Patnaik and Mr. Gurpreet Singh Sara, if you can come on the stage, please. And we will felicitate the asset managers. So with the saplings. So I would like to request Mr. Mathwan, asset manager Mumbai High, to come on the stage. Pat, you can move closer. I would like to request Mr. Sanjay Mazumdar, asset manager Neelam and Hira, to come on the stage. Mathwan sahab, if you can stay on the stage, we'll have a nice photo op after this. Big round of applause for Mr. Sanjay Mazumdar. And I would like to request, one more person will come up and then you can take the group photos. Mr. Ravi Shankar, asset manager of Basin and Satellite, to come up on the stage for the memento. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Yes, please. Thank you. You've been very kind. Thank you, sir. Oh, careful, sir. Sorry. We are coming to the end of the technical session and the talks. So the final point in the agenda is the vote of thanks, for which I will invite Mr. Narinder Jindal. Most of the people here know him. He's the Vice Chairman of IADC. He's also the country head of shelf drilling. He's got more than 40 years of experience, national and international. He started with Oil India, and then he was with high-tech drilling with PDO. And so he's got a lot of experience both on land and offshore drilling. Shelf Drilling currently has 10 jack-up rigs operating in India, so they are by far the largest drilling contractor, and Mr. Jindal runs the whole operation from here. So, Narinder ji, please, if you can come and deliver the vote of thanks. Thank you very much.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, I can assure you that there is a matured yellow water, delicious food, and this very soothing music is waiting for you, and I am in between those things and you. So I will not take much of the time, but I have a job to do, and I will do. Shri O.P. Singh ji, Chairman IADC South Central Asia Chapter and Director TNFS ONGC. Shri Pankaj Kumar ji, Director Offshore ONGC. Shri V.B. Prasad ji, ED CDS ONGC. Shri Michael Prosia ji, ED CDS ONGC. My elder veterans of the industry, Mr. Avinash Chandra ji, Mr. Pandey ji, Mr. Khan ji, Soni Saab and Mishra ji. My senior colleagues from the industry, senior executive of ONGC, students from the university, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I am very happy and excited that after a wait of 2.5 years, we are able to conduct this technology meet in person here in the club. And I can assure you this chapter, as Mr. Singh has explained, I don't want to take much of the time. Even those challenging period, we were doing the offline and online some of the activities, especially offline in physical presence, 2 Doric we did, 1 offshore, 1 onshore, and 3 cyclone seminar, another seminar we do online. And now since these times are improving, we will make sure this chapter become more vibrant and we will have more frequent Doric physical meeting as well as technology meet. Mr. Singh is the inspiration behind us. Thank you, sir, since he has taken chairman of this chapter. This chapter is becoming very, very vibrant. He personally take interest that how can we improve not only the safety on the rig, but the safety culture of the drilling rig and offshore. And he is guiding us, coaching us, and motivating us to do all those things. Thank you, sir. With your help, I am sure we will do more of the seminars. Sri Pankaj Kumarji, I went personally and invited him to this technology meet, which is normally unusual, but he, without any hesitation, has agreed, and not only agreed, he has given very good insight of drilling and petroleum industry today in this evening. Thank you very much, sir. Our mentor, Mr. V.V. Prasad, who is the mentor for this IADC South Central Asia chapter, spending a lot of time with us to organize all those meet and deciding those chapter. Thank you, sir. Thank you all these executive member of IADC South Central Asia chapter, students and other people who has helped us to organize this meet, and thank you all those presenters who has traveled throughout the world and give us very, very good technical meet today in this evening. So thank you very much, sir, and if I have forgot anybody, thank you very much. Thank you the club taking this very good atmosphere, and with this we end of this technology, and Manav, bar is open.
$1 million question. Yes, the bar is open, and we have the bar is right there, just outside where you registered. The bar is. Sorry, sir. Okay, and so the bar is open, and I would request everyone to have a nice evening. We will have, I think, dinner will also start in a few minutes. After that, dinner is located just outside on the left. Left and left again. We have some outside area, and the dinner is being served there. But have a nice evening. Thank you very much for coming. And thanks to the speakers in the end for shortening their presentations. And we've actually saved 20 minutes, so it's only 9:30 now. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Thank you.